Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
What's up, everybody? I'm Michael,
This is Cleve.
and welcome to a ho 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 jolly episode of Friendship
Supreme.
We're the podcast that dares to ask, who is paying Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Amazon?
Is it Amazon?
It came out on Prime like a week after it came out in theaters. It has to be Amazon, right?
Weird thing about Amazon. So I went to the movie theaters today,
Uh-huh.
and the movie industry spent so much money trying to get people to feel comfortable to come back to the movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And now in the movie theaters, Amazon Prime is playing commercials or like trailers that are like, if you watch at home, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, who cares if you're loud and crazy and having fun?
Oh, you gotta take whatever sponsorship money you can sometimes to keep it afloat.
I guess, but God, like, you're really just letting that in there, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're talking about Christmas
Moana 2.
time.
Oh.
Live action Moana Stitch returns. There was a trailer for Stitch.
Moana crossover?
There was a trailer for Stitch as well today. But anyway.
Are you super excited?
It looks fine.
You say that about all the remakes.
I'm more excited about Mufasa than I was about Lion King.
Well, that's because they're telling you a new story.
Yes, 100%. Anyways, we're talking about Red 1 today. It came out in theaters, like they said, it was out in theaters for about 2 weeks, and then on Amazon Prime for free?
Question mark.
So, yeah.
I feel like they didn't advertise that because why would I go watch this in theaters if I can just watch it at home for free?
It just felt like an odd choice on their part. But here we are talking about it, and we got to watch it with a
November 15th it came out. So it's been about less than a month. A little less, a day or two.
In Red 1, J.K. Simmons plays Santa Claus.
I buy him as Santa.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. He was very sophisticated Santa.
I always like him in about everything I see him in, and I didn't feel differently watching this.
I don't disagree with you. We had Dwayne Johnson as Callum Drift.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Evans as Jack O'Malley.
Mm-hmm.
Kiernan Shipka as Gorilla. Gryla, maybe? They said it a couple times. And Lucy Liu as Zoe. Those are the things, those are people I think, those are like the top built people. I don't remember the guy that played Krampus, but.
So I saw Lucy Liu's name, had no idea she was in this at all.
Nope.
Even from advertisement, like months of it talking about it coming out, never knew she was in it, which feels slighted a little bit. But I was like, oh man, are they gonna make her Mrs. Claus? And of course they didn't because they're cowards.
In my notes, I have Lucy Liu ? Exclamation point ? Because I also was like, what the fuck is Lucy Liu doing here?
I thought that they were going to make her Mrs. Claus. And I was like, fuck yeah. All right. I can get behind that a little bit. And of course, they didn't. It was whoever. And then as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, Lucy Liu could have been this character and still Mrs. Claus, and we could have not skipped a beat.
Yeah, I couldn't. The lady looked familiar from...
She did. I'm trying to look it up, and my Explorer was like, "Don't worry about it." I don't think you know Krampus. I'm looking at his name, and I'm just gonna take a shot and say you don't know that man.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Christopher.
Christopher Heavju?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
he's Game of Thrones. That's him.
Everybody's Game of Thrones.
Nah,
Bon-
he's like redheaded and got a big old red beard, and he's the one that looks at Tilda Swinton and is like, "Hey, I'd fucking climb up top you." I remember that.
Okay.
That's like no, like that's if you watched Game of Thrones, you know that.
Mrs. Claus is Bonnie Hunt. She is the woman from Jumanji. That's
thank
the
you,
one
thank you.
thing you'll know her from.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, no, there's definitely a scene where he looks at Tilda Swinton and is like, yeah, that's a mountain I'd like to climb, and it was a feeling. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of people. The girl that plays Grilla is the girl that played Sabrina in the Chilling Tales of Sabrina, which is still one of my favorite Netflix series that have ever happened. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Nick Kroll makes a nice little.
He does, and I don't hate him in it.
It's fine. I have a note about it when we get to it. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Like, you tell me what you thought about it, Cleve.
You know, I will say, I came into watching this hearing the worst reviews, like just slamming it, and I will say, I think that helped the movie because I didn't hate it the way that people try to make me think I was going to hate it.
Interestingly, yeah.
I will say The Rock was the worst part of it. And it wasn't because he was terrible per se, but he just delivered what he's going to deliver. And by golly, don't expect more than that.
As a self-proclaimed Captain Save-A-Ho when it comes to bad movies, I usually am really quick to try to defend movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I did hate this movie as much as people told me I was going to hate it. There was almost no redeeming factors to this movie. Only thing that would make that shines a light on this movie and makes it a little bit better is the fact that I watched Dear Santa first. And Dear Santa is officially on my worst 10 movies of all time list.
I watched it and I was like, I feel like Chris Evans. I don't feel like we had to make him such a piece of shit, but like, I mean, I get it. You want to show that this old elf, maybe, still not 100% sure on if his being is an elf or not. Of course,
he was very offended by it.
Lord knows Dwayne wasn't going to put pointy ears on, but
no. And then that
would have helped me understand.
But then you had the creatures that were walking around.
Yeah, that were like very much elf
looking, like Guillermo del Toro elf.
But then why would you have people elves?
But those elves
an organization called Elf.
Right, that's fair. Why would you do?
I mean, that might be just bad movie. But I don't know. I like cocky Chris Evans. Usually when he's in roles like that, I enjoy him.
I can see that.
He got to be more losers Chris Evans and not Captain America Chris Evans, where he had to be all serious and stoic because that was clearly a role taken already.
Right.
But
and wouldn't have been given to him even if he wanted to.
Yeah. But like when he first met The Rock's character and he's like, I'm not gonna like you. Like everybody I've met so far, I can tell I'm not gonna like you. And I was like, yeah, you're spot on. Because that's The Rock. That's what you're gonna get. Maybe I felt it more because he was really saying it and not just reading a line. Who knows?
I do feel like, and we've mentioned this before, I think we're on an era of sitcoms not portraying shitty dads as shitty And so I do
Mhm.
agree that I think like when we get holiday movies that are just like really push on like the the dad's a shitbag.
Mhm.
Like I feel like we moved away from that in almost every other avenue. So it would be nice if that wasn't the catalyst that made him want to be good. But all right, sure.
I had to remind myself, like, okay, this is gonna be a cheesy Christmas movie because there was a baby with candy, and he literally took it.
He did literally take it. That
And I
was
was
actually one
like,
of the few scenes I was like solid.
really? That was one of the few scenes that I was like, God, they're gonna make him take that candy, aren't they?
I
And then
this
and then he
it
walked by,
reminded me
and
of
I
the
was like,
Grinch.
okay, thanks, I appreciate it. And then he did it anyway, and I was like, God,
Yep,
why?
yep. It was a very Grinch feeling. I think that they forgot they were doing a Christmas movie most of the time.
That's impressive because they're saving Santa
Yeah, but
and
like
the
it
and
just
Christmas.
it just felt like the whole time, and maybe it's the Rock's influence, I don't know, but it felt like the entire time we were not emphasizing or we weren't in like embodying the spirit of Christmas. It was very much like I don't know, there was a sign or there was a line where he was like it's time to save Christmas or something. Like just everything he does, he takes himself so seriously and
Yeah,
it's not fun.
he didn't seem like he was having fun in this movie.
And I think
Every,
this is like a
everyone
big thing
else
he wanted to do.
Everyone else seemed like they were having a pretty decent time. Lucy
Yeah,
Liu seems like she was just there, if I can be honest.
I don't understand her role still.
I'm telling you, it could Mrs. Claus could have been in charge of that organization, and we would not have missed anything out of it.
No. I put what the hell is Lucy Liu's organization? Why is it that we need them? And why did we have to make like Santa a government entity essentially?
So, okay, so my understanding of it was Santa's not necessarily a government entity, but it's like almost like Shield for superheroes.
Yeah.
Like they're just in charge of like watching over and make sure everything. I assume world crisis things would come up and they would handle that.
Yeah, but see, Lucy Liu definitely gave like American government overseeing vibe, like Nick Fury vibe, and I'm okay with it. Like I understand what you're saying about it being Shield, but again, that is just goes back to like here's some weird government official like overlooking Santa Claus.
Maybe to make like realism to it, because like the planes were like flying next to him and escorting him out and stuff.
But,
I
like,
guess.
here's the thing, right? It's a
Uh-huh.
Christmas movie. I don't need
Magic.
realism.
Oh, okay. Well, The Rock's here, so.
Also, Santa Claus hyperspace. Get fucked. We don't need planes.
Yeah.
That man yelled. I don't know what he yelled. I tried to figure it out,
I had the subtitles on. I don't remember.
and he yells something. And I'm gonna tell you now, it activates hyperspace, and it's insane.
In the reindeer's antlers.
There was just a lot going on that I felt like I should have known like what was happening, and I didn't.
Those big old reindeer.
They were big ass reindeer.
Which
But
makes sense, right?
I will say they started this movie off, and I was like, shit, I might like this movie. This motherfucker said, I can find anything or anyone, and that kid popped off so quick with, well, then why can't you find your dad?
Mm-hmm.
And I was dead. I was fucking laughing. I paused it. I just was, I don't know why, but the way he delivered, then why can't you find your dad? I was like, yeah.
The kid that had that one scene that was never seen again.
Yep.
That was what pulled you in right away.
It was immediately. I was like, I'm in. I'm in on board. I'm here for it. I feel like the concept of turning toys into real things was neat. If it didn't look like Spy Kids 3 graphics.
Well, and I hated. I guess here's the problem I have is that you're using the organization to add some sort of realism, and then like this is what my thing does. It works on some things. It doesn't work on other things. Don't ask me anything about it. And then he turned the toy into a real chicken that had a name that he then picked up later and put in his pocket. And I was like,
So he could have brought Wonder Woman to life.
I guess, and it would have been funny because he worked with her once already. But Yeah, I don't know. I've like you gave yourself the ultimate loophole because then he can just use that on whatever, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed the Rock'em Sock'em Robot scene. That was solid. It was a little weird, but I enjoyed it. It really gave in. I see. I think maybe that's what I want from a Christmas movie. I need the fun part of it, the magical part of it, not fucking Dwayne the Rock Johnson acting like a CIA agent.
What about when he got tiny and then he got big and then he got tiny?
Oh,
and
I
then he
have a
got
note
big?
about that. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Him being tiny and going back and forth is literally the worst fucking scene I've ever seen ever. ... Literally ever.
Which one though? You did a couple.
Specifically when he's fighting the snowman, I believe is when I wrote this.
Oh, okay.
But just seeing him, we have the technology. I've seen it in Ant-Man. Seeing him click his heels together and then turn small and big was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I had wondered if when he had shrunk, if that his normal size, and then like as the commander, he just enlarges himself.
You kept trying to tie it back to him being an elf, man, and he's not that serious. He's not that silly. He refuses to be silly. That's his problem.
Well, when he did it, I was like, oh, okay, so he isn't.
Right. That's what I thought
And
originally.
then,
originally, I was like,
I'm
okay.
so confused.
And then he just went back and forth like he was Ant-Man.
And then we just have a polar bear friend.
Because he was jealous. He was jealous he wasn't in Marvel. And he was like, how can I fucking make this happen? And he did it.
I guess he did.
He made himself fucking Ant-Man. He got to be with J. Jonah Jameson and Ant-Man. I don't know, man. It was in Captain America. That's fair. Yeah, duh. But there was no. He takes himself so seriously now that it makes it so hard to have fun in any role. Because I think that could have been like a cool. That could have been like silly, right? That could have been fun where like he actually is fucking 2 foot tall, and he's those creatures we saw walking around helping.
Yeah.
But like because he's Santa's, number one guy, he uses some kind of transmorphication, whatever.
Yeah. What's funny is like I've seen him play the comical character.
Mm-hmm. Tooth Fairy.
Well, not only that, I'm thinking like what was that movie with him and Kevin Hart? Like he was the straight man and still wasn't the straight man. Like there was the comic relief than the straight man. Like that he still was very funny and comical in that. I don't think he tried to deliver any comedy in this. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he felt like Hobbs the whole time.
Yeah. Or Shaw. Who knows?
It's fair.
Who could really tell you if it's Hobbs or Shaw?
I did write real sarcastically, ha ha ha, trolls, get it?
I don't get it.
So they kept referring to their internet people that they needed to turn to, who they're experts, and they were literal trolls.
I did get that one, yeah.
And I was like, oh, we did that joke. We've done that joke before. Shit, Moon Girl did that joke, and it was better.
I liked... Yeah, everything I liked in it. Every scene that I wrote down that I liked was like Chris Evans doing something.
Yeah,
like when there was the piano in the middle of the street, and he was like, "There's a present here with your name on it," and he was like, "Look, we get in this truck and drive around this piano right now. We don't have to deal with any of this."
That was such a bizarre scene, and so like, I'm so glad you brought it up because I didn't write notes about it because this is when I moved over to watching it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Callum, Dwayne's character, was like, "No, you have to open it." There were times where like laws were written into the movie, like I have to do this or this has to be done this way, with no backstory or explanation. Tell me that like there's some kind of like North Pole shit that like if you don't open a gift with my name on it, then like.
It would have been funny if like because if he was an elf, like because it was a gift with his name on it, like he had to give it to him.
Yeah, I would be fine with that. But like they never explained anything like that.
Mm.
And all he said was, "No, you have to open it." And Chris Evans was just like, "All right, I'll go along with it. I'll open it." Because his initial reaction to that, knowing that there was an evil Christmas witch out there, that is the
Fuck that.
correct response.
Fuck that box. Fuck this creepy piano in the middle of the woods, and fuck that box.
I could see a piano in the middle of the road. I'm not getting out the motherfucking vehicle.
And I don't remember what Christmas song it was playing, but I was like, there's a tone and a speed that they're playing that song. But I'm like, nah, dog, this ain't nothing. There can't possibly be nothing over there for me. I can promise you. Also, I will say that scene probably had what, if you want to say anybody acted in this movie, it was Chris Evans when his son. Okay, so context for people. There's a Christmas witch. She might exist in folklore. I have no idea. Who wants to punish all the naughty people instead of just ignoring that they're naughty.
Cleve said naughty, not Nazis. Although we are on board with punishing all the Nazis as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I would help her. Anyway, she makes these snow globes that trap people, and his son got one. His son's a little bit of an asshole.
Oh, Jesus Christ. She is most definitely a real person in Icelandic folklore, and Jesus Christ.
And when you pick it up, I guess it teleports you to her, and you're inside the snow globe, and it takes his son, and he grabs it, and he looks at the rock, and he goes, "It's my kid." And like, I was like, this was the one delivered line where I was like, man, it feels like someone's acting here. I feel it for a moment. And then it got silly again. And then they broke out of the snow globes, and we didn't even address that.
So quickly.
I assume it's because they wanted to be better people.
Yeah, he even said, like, I guess I grew a little nicer, and that's what it was. But like,
just a little bit, just a little nicer, and you're out.
Yeah.
Like
that feels. Yeah, Grilla is a real thing in Iceland, and it captures children that are not nice.
Also, how dumb do you have to be like, do not say her name?
And he immediately says his name, or says her name. Yeah,
and you're the smart one.
Every time we said the word level 4 naughty lister, I almost lost my eyeballs out of my head from rolling them. Yeah, it was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I wrote, I'm sorry, I lied about the worst scene ever. This Christmas witch possession makes me want to stab my fucking ears out. This might be the worst.
What do you mean that was hilarious?
Nick Kroll's voice that he did made me want to stab my fucking ears and never be able to hear things again.
You know what? You know what it sounded like?
Him being possessed by a witch. Yeah, it did. But God, I hated it so much.
Yeah, I feel like you.
And I had to hear it the whole time.
I feel like you were supposed to hate it. Wasn't supposed to be pleasant. It wasn't like a little pixie voice. You're supposed to be like, oh my God, it's a fucking witch. It's a fucking witch taking over his body.
Oh, also, you see those fucking giant ass icemen or snowmen get out of a truck, and as pedestrians or just people just walking around, like, you're not immediately running for the fucking hills. There was a point in time where he took swings on innocent bystanders. Like, those people didn't book it the second those behemoths came out.
You know, I would have to also question what I'm looking at for a second. I would be on my way out, you're right, but you might catch me for...
I might give you a second, but some of those things had swords and axes. Yeah. And at that point, I no longer want to be around. If I don't see movie cameras and I don't see Ashton Kutcher, I'm getting the fuck out of there. Oh, Tracy Morgan does a show like that now too. So there you go. Tracy Morgan also.
How did you feel about seeing Santa in action?
At the very end of the movie, it was both weird and I guess okay.
I was like, you know what? Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
You
how
know
I
what?
felt.
It's one of the better ways that I've seen explained. Like, yeah, sure. He turns into a little rat size. And he crawls a little duck.
And I
That
appreciate.
that explains apartments and all the other shit.
Well, and maybe this explains again my hatred for Dwayne in this movie and most movies, but like J.K. Simmons sold the shrinking thing to me.
Yeah.
Like it fit, like he just wanted to be a part of it and was in it, and
I like when he's like in the little duck. He's like,
yeah,
and what about shit? Yeah, like I'm telling you, I feel like Lucy Liu was just there,
yeah, I don't, she was fine.
but I feel like Chris did well with what was given. I feel like J.K. Simmons did well with what was given.
Even Krampus was fine.
I didn't mind.
I
You know what?
him.
That was like, to me, that was like them trying to tie back more family stuff
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh shit, we're making a Christmas movie.
I did think it was weird that he was so angry about them running away, but then was like, you know what? I do love my brother. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
That's right. I wish that I wish there was something that like maybe they had said to him on the way out.
Maybe he
That
had
was like,
seen something that was like, yeah,
maybe there's a deleted scene, but like something that made him go, "Fuck, maybe I should
yeah,
go do something about it."
yeah. Just anything. Because that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, so much of this movie, they expected you to connect dots. And, like, we can do that. But again, children don't necessarily always do that. So maybe that's part of, like, the issue I have with this being a family
May-
holiday movie.
Maybe that's the biggest question: is who is this movie for?
Yeah.
Who's your audience? Is it small children?
It's definitely not small children because it's PG-13.
Okay, so then it's
Then
for
who?
teenagers and adults.
I guess.
Just now thinking about it, there's another thing that it was almost like, okay, so here's how I felt about The Rock's character. It was like it's like Cal was questioning his religion while working with Jesus.
He was questioning he was questioning the redeemability of human beings. So he was almost like he was questioning like Jesus being like, if we want to do like the Jesus thing, it would almost be like Jesus being like, everybody deserves to be saved, and Cal would be sitting on the corner like, but like, does everybody need to be saved?
Right. Which and I guess he does say it, he's like, if someone has doubt, they shouldn't be with you. So I guess that makes a bit of sense. Also, J.K. Simmons look good. I saw in an interview that he was like, "Yeah, I'm in The Rock. I'm gonna get my shit together.
That's
I'm not
fair.
gonna get like a little old man."
That's fair. I did appreciate that they had to throw in the line about him being his last day before retirement to Chris Evans.
Obviously, yeah.
I hated it so much.
I'm getting too over this shit.
I just hated it so much. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, who is this movie for?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was asking for it. It was supposed to come out last year. It got delayed an entire year.
Well, yeah, because you can't put it out. You can't put it out after you got a
They had
deadline.
but
This is the only movie with a real deadline.
Right, and remember last year they announced it around like October. And then it was like, we heard nothing about it. It was like, oh, it'll come out before Christmas Day, and it never did. And then they're like, oh, next year. Just kidding.
Reshoots, man, reshoots.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It felt like, okay, this is what it is. Dwayne loves to be the hero in everything. He refuses to be not the hero, so much that Black Adam was ruined because of it. This feels like Dwayne Johnson sat down with ChatGPT and wrote himself a story that he could be the hero in a Christmas movie after ChatGPT
and not be Santa.
Well, and after ChatGPT had watched all of his movies and compiled, like, they took that data and then wrote a movie for him with his guidance. That's what it felt like. And yes, the stipulation that he couldn't be Santa because he didn't want to be jolly.
I gotta show my arms, baby.
Fuck, man, I don't know. I was gonna say because he didn't want to be like plump, but J.K. Simmons wasn't. So
I gave the bear shit, but I liked the bear. I think it was okay with him.
none
The polar bear.
of his people were bad.
Yeah.
There were times where we would see pannings of like the work floor, and I would see creatures that I am in awe. I don't know what they were. I think we just had a bunch of costumes in a warehouse, and we're like, yeah, just throw those on.
You know what? I will. You know who looked fantastic was the Headless Horseman,
He did, yeah.
and it was like 30 seconds.
And
45
also,
seconds.
what an odd person to be like, this is who we caught. This was the scene to be like, folklore is real.
I expected there to be more like people in like holding,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, we got this movie.
Yep. Anyways, guys, if I had
Out
to,
Out of 5 candy canes, what are you giving it?
it's one really sharp candy cane that I'm stabbing my eyes out with after I've licked it sharp. Two. I'll say 2. I'll be kind because I think there are some like good parts in it.
I would also say 2, but I also feel like I can't figure out who I want to tell to watch this
No one.
because not everybody's gonna like it.
I won't recommend
But-
this to a single
But
person.
somebody would like it.
I think a 2.5 I'd recommend it to
But
some people.
who? Like,
Look, I recommended Hot Frosty. Not to
Shouldn't have done that
everybody,
either, though.
but I found some specific people that I was like,
Okay.
hey, you should watch this movie.
yeah, I can't think of what it gives that I want to share with others.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Not
But-
a
and I-
damn thing.
And what's funny is that I didn't dislike it as much as you disliked it. But yeah, no, I don't have anything to
Perhaps
offer to the world for it.
perhaps it gets lost for you in the generic-ism of it. Like, it's so much like every other holiday movie we've ever seen that, like, it doesn't have any individuality that makes it exciting.
Right, but we've liked other holiday movies.
Fair.
So where does this one drop the ball? Let me ask you this question:
Because I think because it does
If-
not have personality.
if we pluck The Rock out
Yeah.
and put in whatever actor,
Yeah.
do you think you enjoy it more?
Potentially.
Is he the problem?
Potentially. Yeah, I don't think this movie was
Because you
necessarily
didn't,
bad.
you
I
didn't
think
mind Chris.
I think Callum itself was a horribly written character in the movie.
Mhm.
So whether I blame that on the fact that The Rock has stipulations in his contract that only allow him to do certain things, or do I blame
Which
it on
it
the
is.
writer who potentially wrote this character to be this way? But that character was the most lackluster and void of any substance character in the film. Like, there was no need for him to exist. You could have replaced him with Lucy Liu and we would have been fine. Lucy Liu could have been like, here's how this technology works, Chris Evans, figure it out. And he could have done the same things that The
Yeah.
Rock did, but also be charismatic and enjoyable.
Well, you need someone to have superhuman nonsense so that they can get the shit slapped out of them by Krampus.
Fine, put Kevin Hart in there.
That's what you're sending in?
You know how much funnier it would have been if Kevin Hart was the fucking straight man?
Oh my god, you know how much more hilarious it would have been if you would have made Kevin Hart get big and
Yeah.
then get small?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd rewatch that.
Yeah.
I'd check that one out. Yeah, I think it's him because I didn't have a problem necessarily with a lot else of the film.
They were ambitious on some of their graphics that I think that they missed on, but I think
For a movie that went to theaters, yeah. If it just
Yeah,
went to
fair.
Prime, I think I could give it more of a pass.
100% agree. Watching it just on Prime, I probably would have been like, cool, but like they box office released that bitch and wanted
Yeah.
your money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know if you guys watched it. If you did, let us know if you enjoyed it, and if I'm just spitting shit on my ass and I'm just a giant old rock hater, because that could be the thing right now, which is really
Yeah,
crazy. Because
I'm
I would
all-
have told you 15 years ago, Mike would be like, "You're insane. He's the best."
I'm also. I feel like I'm a rock hater now. I want more, and I think there's other people. You look at Cena and you look at Batista, and they're just giving you so much more.
Because they love what they're doing, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think you might have sent me the interview, or I saw it on TikTok. But someone asking him like, "What do you do for fun?" And
Yeah.
he couldn't answer that question, and that's the
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah, he should have definitely had fun in this.
Shit, I don't
Chris,
know. Spending time with your kid, like that could be fun.
Chris Evans seemed like he was having a good time.
I don't know. Yeah, like I said, let us
I
know if
wouldn't
you,
say JK was having a good time, but that's because I feel like he didn't get to do a lot.
he did just
He
lay
was
like this
there,
a lot.
and then he got captured. And
And Grilla, I thought Grilla was fine too, but she very much was just Sabrina. She acted like Sabrina the whole time. And
Yeah. I have no reference for that, so I guess she gets a pass for me.
But I enjoy her. I think she's a great actress. So, let us know
and
down
The Rock,
below.
you feel the same way about the Rock?
The Rock was there. He existed in this fucking movie somehow.
He's a great actor too. Is that what you were gonna say?
He's
He started off strong, didn't he?
He's really
pity.
great for specific roles, and those roles are currently not needed in the movies that we are producing right now. What was it? Not back down. Get down. What was that one? When he goes to the jungle, he goes back to his hometown and he gets taken over
The
by
Rundown.
the Rundown. Oh, that was with Stifler.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking the other
What-
one. When he goes back to his
um,
hometown and it's got a casino in it and they're using it to peddle drugs.
Walk Tall.
Something like
Walking
that.
Tall.
Yeah.
Walking Tall.
That movie, fan-fucking-tastic. I loved him in that movie, and he can live in that role forever. Even Rundown, one of my favorite fighting scenes in a lot of movies is him fighting Ernie Reyes Jr., and maybe because I like Ernie Reyes Jr., but like that was a fun scene. He, at some point, got so full of himself and refused to allow his public image to be anything other than perfect that it stopped being fun. And that's where I think the problem is for him.
And for the record, there are people who do that well. Like Chadwick Boseman would not take roles unless he was playing someone doing
Important.
something.
Yeah.
But his is just like, I don't want to get beat up, and that's not.
I don't know. He's
Yeah.
I think it's his arrogance. Is what it feels like.
Looking at his like movies, his character in Red One is the same as his character in Red Notice. Is the same as his character in Black Adam. Is the same in Rampage, and the same as Hobbs or Shaw, whichever
and
one
San
he is.
Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a movie where I'm like, oh my god, he's so different. Even
He
when like
did something here.
Even with like Game Plan or Tooth Fairy, where he allowed them to make fun of the fact that he's those kinds of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Those were at least a little bit more enjoyable because even they were bad movies, they were fun because like here's someone that takes himself seriously and didn't for 10 seconds. I don't know.
We might do a bad movie review off of Dwayne The Rock Johnson movies. Anyways,
guys, guys, comment on down below if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna be honest, we don't really recommend it. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I've been Michael.
This is Cleve, and let's save Christmas.
Did we just save Christmas? Yeah, I think we just saved Christmas.